One.
You can't just go to one.
I
All
didn't.
right.
I went to
Well,
two, then one. What the hell?
I didn't. Okay. Well, I didn't hear that part. Anyway, hello everybody, and welcome to the Untitled Hoops podcast. We are back again. Uh, this is the podcast mainly about, not mainly about, strictly about. I mean, we talk about other shit sometimes too, but about basketball, mainly the NBA, mainly the 76ers. I am your host. Sean over there is your other host, Marquise. Marquise, say hi. Oh, okay. All right. That's a way. That's a one way to start it off. But yeah, um, NBA draft happened. Me and Marquise talked about it briefly at work, and I made the uh, admission that, to be honest, after pick, I want to say 7, I had no idea who anybody was. I did not watch a
Wait,
lot of
time out,
college
time out,
basketball
time
this
out.
year.
You didn't see Toronto get dick?
I did. No, no, no. I saw Grady. I saw Grady Dick go to Toronto, and I did want to ask you about that because I thought that was kind of interesting. But I
Be-
didn't watch as much college basketball last year as I normally do, so I didn't know most of the picks.
did
But
it, so it surprised you that they took dick so soon?
no, not at all. I thought Dick might go a little higher.
Damn. You thought Dick might have been higher?
Yeah, I thought Dick might have went a little higher.
I just don't think Dick is. I mean, I thought Dick wasn't even that good. You know what I mean? And he's Kansas. He came from Kansas, so it's Kansas Dick basically. So, and that's like the lowest rated Dick that's out there. So now he's
Joel
Toronto.
Embiid came from Kansas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he also wasn't Dick. You know what I mean? He was Embiid. He was Kansas
Okay,
Embiid. It wasn't Kansas Dick. Now he's Toronto
okay,
Dick. So I hate Dick. I hate Dick now.
okay.
I'm a lesbian.
I knew that joke was coming at some point. I knew some. I knew something. Some variation of that joke was coming at some point. I'm glad we got it out the way early, and even though it probably will come up again.
Yeah, it will.
Um,
Yeah, it
but
will.
yeah, but first off, let's say obviously congratulations to all the people who were picked. Um, I guess some highlights. Amen and Assur, I believe is how you
Asar.
pronounce his name.
Asar.
Asar, yeah. Twins. They were picked top five. First brothers picked top five
No, they
ever.
weren't.
Yeah, they were.
Amen was fifth, and Asar was sixth.
I thought it was 4 and 5.
Mm,
You sure?
100%.
Okay.
They
Well,
were
anyway.
they were the first two brothers to get drafted in the lottery
Oh, okay. And I'm
in
sure
the
they were
same year.
probably the first two brothers to get drafted back to back.
No, Markeith and Marcus went back to back.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Mm.
Wow. I don't remember that draft much. Or at least I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember that draft much. But anyway, congratulations to them. Uh, and then of course, Grady Dick going in Toronto. I wanted to ask you, Grady Dick going in Toronto, does that, because he is I mean, he's a good shooter. He's not just a shooter, but he can shoot the ball. Does that more or less mean that Gary Trent Jr. probably not staying in Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think Gary Trent has a player option, so he can opt in. Um, it's kind of whatever he feels like. He might even opt in to get a sign and trade or whatever. But I mean, most likely. And then like people thought it was like kind of a reach because they saw Grady going in more so in like the mid to high teens, and
Mm-hmm.
for him to be, I think he was 13th, which means he's going to be a great player. Because if you get drafted 13, it's kind of your career's kind of good. It's just like the percentage of the number 13 overall pick. Just so many. Kobe,
Yeah,
Devin Booker. I think Donovan Mitchell was 13. It just seems like a
I
lot of.
believe Giannis was 13 or 15.
He was 15.
15.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I just think it was a smart pick. He provides shooting, and like a lot of their problems is they only had one shooter, and obviously they're probably gonna have that same problem again. But
Yeah.
I think the way Barnes, playmaking, I think Barnes can really use Dick well.
Okay. All right.
mean, just
I
think,
get.
look on how everybody can use Dick because because Koloko can be posting up, and then maybe he gets a double. Maybe he becomes Joel Embiid. He passes out to Dick. Dick just raining. Can you just imagine Dick just raining threes? Just everybody just oh shit, Dick is going crazy. Can you imagine Mike Breen?
Why do you keep pronouncing? Why do you keep calling him by his last name?
Because we call everybody by their last name.
No, we don't.
I mean, come on. Can you imagine Mike Breen like he's going in a close game? Oh my God, Dick is going crazy. Like I can see that. Sean, you froze.
Yeah, I was gonna say who. I heard you, but I was gonna say you said who Breen is
Mike
gonna announce it.
Mike Breen, just like on
Yeah,
that.
it sounded like you just. It's not like you just said someone's first name.
But that's a commentator.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I normally go by the last name.
No, you don't.
What are you talking about?
No, it's a lie.
You know who they should sign? Rudy Gay. They should sign Rudy Gay and Kevin Love.
So they can just stand next to each other and you can see Love Gay Dick. How?
Yes, they have
This
to
is
do
ridiculous.
It is. It is what? What is it, Sean?
That's, it's ludicrous, is what it is. It is. It is stupid.
But no,
I ran out of big words
I ran out of big words.
on my third word.
Actually, you know what's crazy? The reason you said big, like Dick is about 6'8", so that's a big.
Oh
dick
my
right
god.
there.
Okay, all right, shut up.
Biggest dick I ever seen. Can we not bigger than mine. Can we just like move on from the next? Victor went number 1. There was no surprise.
Yes, Victor Wembanyama.
You know,
About to say Victor Oladipo. I heard you.
I was not about to say Victor Oladipo.
Oh, okay. It sounded like you were.
Oh no,
Yes, Victor Wembanyama went number 1. I think this was one of those drafts where it's kind of like the draft really started too, because pretty much everyone knew who the number 1 pick was going to be.
I mean, it started at 2, but we all knew who the top 3 were going to be, though.
But we didn't know the order.
Yeah.
Because there was obviously a lot of debate over, who was going to be the number 2 pick. We knew who the top 3 were going to be, but who number 2 was going to end up being was, it was still a little bit up in the air. I was a little bit surprised that the Hornets didn't go with Scoot. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can kind of go either way with both of them, but I feel like, I don't know, something in me is just telling me Scoot Henderson is going to be the second, if not best player in this draft.
Yeah, he kind of has that mentality. He kind of reminds me of a Russell Westbrook. He already has a great mindset, a great work ethic. He just seems very mature for his age. And I mean, going to Portland, who knows what that means for Portland? Doesn't mean Dame is going to get traded. You see Dame and Jimmy Butler sharing posts and shit. Dame is listening to Welcome to Miami. Jimmy's listening to Dame Dolla's music. Nobody does that, so he must mean something. And it's just crazy. No, I'm just saying, like,
just rude for no reason.
How's it rude? Because he wants to go to Miami. He's not trying to come here, so like it's whatever.
But to say that nobody listens to his music, that's just mean.
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure his kids listen to it.
I don't think that's actually even true. I think it's more so like maybe his mom.
I got a question. You think Dick likes his music? Dick is getting a hard sweat while listening to his music.
You were the one who said let's move on.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. You should know better. You should know better.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm sorry. Also, there was only 58 draft picks because of tampering. Yes. Bulls tampered with I forget. Was it Alex Caruso? No, it was Lonzo. And you see how that worked out.
Yeah.
And then we tampered with
PJ.
PJ and Daniel House. I don't understand why you tampered with Daniel House. He probably would have came
Yeah.
if you offered him a cheesesteak. It just didn't make sense. I'm sorry. It just didn't make sense
No,
to
it didn't.
if you losing one for PJ, okay. Losing one for Daniel House is absurd. For him to
Right.
not even play
You
majority
could
of
have
the
traded
season.
for Daniel House the second round pick
You could have
and not like
you could have traded for Daniel House for cash and consideration.
yeah.
What's the
I
consideration part?
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't
Like,
think anybody knows. I don't think it's real. I think it's honestly just a loophole for them to get over on like not offering a team anything significant.
so we just want to give you some consideration.
It's like a team that literally just wants to get rid of a player and they're just like we don't even need anything back. Just take his contract, please.
Is that the consideration part?
Maybe they were
Please.
considerate by taking this contract from us.
Very considerate. But
Perhaps.
big trade happened. I think either the same day or is it day before. I think we talked about it a little bit. I don't know whether it was on the podcast or at work. Chris Paul is now a member of the Golden State Warriors, and he
Crazy.
was traded for. Literally, it's weird that you see a 38-year-old traded and be the best player traded. It's very weird. It's very rare that the team that trades the 38-year-old gets the biggest package back. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I think this was an interesting trade because I think Jordan, the whole situation with Jordan Poole and Draymond, and obviously, and by the way, Draymond opted out of his contract. He opted out with his player option. But the whole thing with Jordan Poole and Draymond seems like it just couldn't be rectified, and they just needed to move on from Jordan Poole. So they were just going to take back the best player that they could get in exchange for him. Not to say that Chris Paul was the best like player, but he was the best player that was definitely available.
Now,
Um,
it was some reports that the Jordan Poole trade was also on the table for the Phoenix Suns for Chris Paul, but they decided to go with Bradley Beal
right,
instead of Jordan Poole.
which is the better option.
I mean, one is significantly more cheaper.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're talking about, and we got to talk about this Bradley Beal trade a little bit more because I still think it was one of the stupidest things ever. But I think if you're talking about a team that has Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, a team that was in the finals 2 years ago, like obviously they want to win now. And I'm not saying Jordan Poole isn't capable of helping a team like that, but they lost Chris Paul, who was like their third star. They need another third star in return. They can't get a guy like Jordan Poole, who's really good, but he's not a star yet. Like he hasn't reached that level yet in the league. So getting somebody like Bradley Beal, who's proven, even though he hasn't had as much postseason success as Jordan Poole has, but obviously, there's other circumstances at play there. But I think that's more so what the players already there probably wanted. Meaning the Phoenix Suns. They probably wanted a guy like Bradley Beal more than a guy like Jordan Poole.
And I feel like this Bradley Beal contract is kind of like the Tobias Harris contract, whereas though like you are hoping to get a player like him no matter what,
Yeah.
but like the contract limits you in so many other areas that you kind of I feel like if they don't win a championship, which I don't see them doing,
No.
they probably top five at best record wise because who's going to come to play with you guys unless it's like friends of them, like fucking have DeAndre Jordan come to the Suns. Like I don't like I just don't see much people and the people that like playing there you traded away
Yeah.
and it just I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are looking at Kevin Durant and going, I don't know if he can do it. Not just
He can't.
not because of play, but just because of his like look at his track record. Everywhere he goes, either the team gets better after he leaves, or the team just fucking sinks while he's there. Lucky for him, the Golden State Warriors already had a core of people that he was added to,
Yeah.
right? Literally, once he got to Brooklyn, they were worse. Once he left Brooklyn, they got better. Like it was, he. I mean, you could say that I guess about any superstar. You say that about LeBron James as well. when he leaves a team, you just see all the carnage of like people he got paid or his friends that he wanted around and shit like that. You just see their bodies just being there, smiling, like counting their money because they're no longer competing for a championship anymore. But it's just like you look at Kevin Durant and you see his track record. It's like as a player, why do I want to go play here and take a significantly less
Yeah.
to lose? Because we're there's gonna be a whole bunch of like as a player that you're looking for, you're not looking for young players. You're looking for veteran guys. So like you look around and you go, well, damn, our starting five is cool, but like I look around and I see a lot of other players like me, and I know I ain't really on shit. So like
Right.
like so I don't know. I'm pretty sure.
I
Go ahead.
Go ahead, finish.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say I saw a post a while ago that said something that I thought was ironic, but also pretty accurate. It said Kevin Durant is the player that people have been accusing LeBron James of being for the last decade, in the sense that when times get rough, he jumps ship and he just goes somewhere else and he tries to form this super team, and most often it just doesn't work. That's what everybody has accused LeBron of being. And I mean, to some extent, you can say it's kind of correct, but at the same time, Kevin Durant fits that description to the T.
But the
Whereas,
difference I would say with LeBron, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, good.
the difference I would say with LeBron is LeBron then went back to the team he left, won them a championship, and then decided, okay, we don't have enough, or I can't win with this group of guys. I think there's different. Like if KD would have left the Warriors and went back to OKC and won a championship, I think we don't talk about it as much because I feel like that's what
Right,
LeBron got away with, and also LeBron then went to his next destination and also proceeded to win a championship. LeBron has
right.
won a championship at every team he's played with. So like you can't. I mean, you can say similar paths, but also LeBron just went down a different route at the end of the day.
Well, not only that, LeBron has never gone to a team that the year prior was better than the team he was on.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, whereas Kevin Durant kind of, I don't want to say does that every year, but or every time, but he left the Thunder to go to the 73-9 Warriors. He left the Warriors to go to Brooklyn, which, the Nets weren't better than the Warriors, but at the same time, the Warriors were different because KD and Clay were injured. So
Hmm.
they obviously weren't as good. Whereas the Nets were, in the playoffs, like they were pretty good. Um, and then they go from the Nets to Phoenix, who
Already was in the
again 2 years
finals.
ago was the number
Yeah,
one team in the league. Like,
dominating, like
yeah,
dominating
so and then on top of that, you're constantly going to these teams that were better than your team, and you're not winning.
at all.
Whereas LeBron goes and he wins. So it's like,
If KD would have and Kyrie would have won a championship, we don't talk about that. Like we don't talk about it. Like we would go,
no,
yeah, he got those two. We would look at it like LeBron. Like LeBron went to Miami, got two, but then he went back home. I know that puts a lot of emphasis on him going back to the team he left, but like went somewhere that did not have a championship and won
and
him a
won them their
championship.
first.
If
Yeah,
KD would have went to Brooklyn, would have went into New York and won a championship, nobody would have gave a fuck because New York is
right,
such a big market. New York would not. I guess the media and the love he would get from that would not let anybody downplay what KD would have done for that franchise. So like he's kind of, and then what makes it worse is that he didn't do it and then requested a trade out of it,
yeah,
which further tarnishes his name because you went
yep,
to a big market and then fucked up big. A lot of the decisions that happened through there was yours. You wanted
yep,
Kyrie. You wanted James Harden. You wanted all these players. You wanted to trade out Jared Allen because you want DeAndre Jordan to get more time. Like all this stuff, whether it was you or Kyrie, like you brought on Kyrie. So like everything is going to go back to you because you're the best player.
right.
So like that,
And I think Kyrie's in the same boat, honestly. But the difference is
Kyrie
Kyrie
doesn't
has
care.
never,
Kyrie don't care.
yeah, Kyrie doesn't care, and also Kyrie has never. I wouldn't even say Kyrie doesn't care. I think Kyrie cares. I think the difference is Kyrie cares because it's annoying. Kevin Durant cares because he thinks that this is going to have like legit impacts on his legacy, which it will. But I think
100%.
Kyrie is just more so like leave me the fuck alone. Like
Because,
he cares because it's like getting on his nerves.
but I mean, I don't want to put no downage. That's not a no fucking word, but people
Oh,
understand what I'm talking about. But I'm not trying to put nothing
I didn't.
down on his championships because without him they would not have won that. But at the same time, with him, it was damn near like guaranteed. Um, it
And they did win one without him. I mean, you can argue
yeah.
the Cavs were depleted, but at the same time, they did win one without him.
No, you talk about the Warriors or the Cavs, the team.
Oh, you're talking about LeBron?
I'm talking about Kevin Durant. I'm talking about like without KD, I don't see them beating. Was it? It was Cleveland both times, right? I don't see them beating them both times.
I think I do.
I don't,
Not both times, but at least one.
because think about it. They barely beat LeBron when he didn't have nobody. I mean, they swept them, but like at the same time, it was like every game was competitive. LeBron just didn't
Yeah.
have a number two, and then once LeBron got healthy, once his teammates got healthy, they did it. So it's like I don't know. Even if they did come back 3-1, they did it, and then you kind of go. They have that kind of like the Celtics thing with the Sixers, whereas though no matter what good you do, it's always in the back of your mind that they can fucking beat us.
But the reason why I don't think the Cavs win both is because, like you said, they swept them the first time, and even when the Cavs came back 3-1, you also got to remember like the circumstances of some of those games. Like they were also very competitive games, but also Draymond getting like suspended for one game, like that. There were some other significant like factors at play that I think if you give them a 7 game series with everybody healthy, everybody plays every game, it could go either way. So I think of those two championships where KD was there, the Warriors still could win at least one of them. And then the third one,
I didn't say they would win both. I would
no, no,
say
no.
I said they wouldn't have won both. I don't think. I
Right.
think they probably would have split.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say they could split. But then even then, 2018, the third or the fourth matchup. No, wait. Yeah, because they met 4 straight years.
Mm-hmm.
In 2018, the Warriors still win, regardless of Kevin Durant being there or not. Because by that point, Kevin Love was injured and Kyrie was gone. So you're back to square one. You're back to basically 2015, if not worse.
Yeah, but
So
I don't
it's
know
tough.
because it's like so you bring back Harrison Barnes in this hypothetical because I think Harrison Barnes was like the only person they really lost. I think Sean Livingston retired during that run. Uh,
Yeah.
and like the Warriors were for so long were just finding players and people were just playing good for them. They would just magically
Hmm.
sign a player who like nobody fucking heard of,
Just
or
plug
like
them in.
or nobody had even thought about even giving them a contract, and they would just
Yeah.
magically come in and work.
Yep.
Because they didn't have to do much. Like the Golden
Maurice
State,
Spates.
yeah, most Bates,
JaVale McGee.
yeah, like guys who were jokes or like JaVale McGee's
Yep.
case was a joke of the league, and
Yeah.
then went there
Nick
and won
Young.
two championships. Nick Young championship. Like these guys who, like a lot of teams would just throw like a minimum contract to, and go, all right, shoot something or do some dumb shit or like just be a part of the team just to fill a spot. They turn them into valuable assets. That JaVale McGee got paid for it. Nick Young got another shot because he had more opportunities from it. Just like guys were getting signed from the Warriors and then left the Warriors and did nothing because the
Yep.
Warriors system made them.
Well, I would argue the only exception to that is probably JaVale McGee
Oh yeah,
because he
because he
went
won a
and won another.
championship. Yep,
You know,
he won a championship.
it was a pretty key piece, I would say.
100%. They had no. Him and Dwight Howard were literally split in time at
Yeah.
center. So, and then, well, I won't say split in time at center because in the finals it was just kind of JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
They kind of didn't play Dwight, but it is what it is.
I think that's just because AD got way more minutes too.
Yeah, I mean,
They
they
didn't
put him
have
at the
as many
five.
lineups with a real five. Yeah, they
No,
didn't have as many lineups with a real five in.
yeah, AD was the five, the majority of it, because he was going against Bam. Bam was like
Yeah,
smaller guy. AD could still take him off the dribble, stuff like that. It just made sense.
yeah.
But yeah, what else? What else happened?
Well, we got to finish talking about Chris Paul because I mean, I hate to say it, but like Chris Paul is on the team that has basically been the bane of his existence for most of the latter half of his career, from
I,
his time with the Clippers to the Rockets. Like it was always the Warriors.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. Prediction wise, I have been in a slump, but I did say the Nuggets are going to win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the main one. I did get
Okay.
incorrect everybody who was going to make it to the conference finals. I literally
Yeah.
every team I said was going to make it did not make it.
Yep.
But I do think the with Chris Paul added, and obviously this is them in my mind retaining Draymond Green. I think they're the team to beat in the West. Just because,
Possibly.
just because like CP3, one of those guys who don't need to score, he'll be okay if he got 2 points, 5 rebounds, and 15 assists.
Yeah.
And all those 15 assists will be at the right fucking times.
Yep.
Like it just be the right times. You got Kevin Looney. Kevin Looney is going to fucking eat.
Yeah.
You saw that his rebounds was crazy. He can get lobs. He gonna get post passes. He's gonna get duckings. He like Chris Paul's gonna see all that shit. Like you thought Curry did a good job of getting him the ball. Bro's gonna eat. I don't know who else is they're gonna sign in terms of center wise because I know Kevin
Yeah.
Looney is their like go to, especially in the playoffs. Um, but like I just think about that what Draymond can do, and then what CP could do, and then having CP off the bench or starting whatever you need him to do. I feel like he can. He's not a guy who needs to start. I don't think he's like a James Harden, Russell Westbrook, who like is going to take him time to adjust. It might take him a little time to adjust, but I don't think it's going to be a fucking storyline every time he
Mm-hmm.
plays. That he's starting, he can't find his rhythm, shit like that. Chris Paul just want
Yeah.
to win. He just want to win. Anything
Yeah.
to do to win, he's going to do it. And I just think that would imagine running off a screen and fucking losing Steph Curry. Chris Paul has the ball, just beams that shit. Like it's just so much they can do with Chris Paul because Steph Curry, as good as he is on ball, I believe Steph Curry is better off ball. Just for the fact that you gotta keep up with him. It's not just guarding him. Your cardio has to be elite to keep up with him. And then you have
Yeah.
a playmaker who is smart, who can pass players open. You have a guy who can get himself open, and you got a playmaker that can pass somebody open. Those two
Yeah.
go together a lot. So
Yeah.
I feel like they're the team to beat. Also, what I said about the Lakers when the Lakers and Warriors went against each other, I said if the Lakers win, they're going to lose to the Nuggets, and I said if the Warriors win, they're going to beat the Nuggets for the simple fact of how Steph gets to switch on Jokic and he tires Jokic out. He starts to tire Jokic out. Now you got Chris Paul. So now when
Yeah.
Steph goes to the bench, Chris Paul is going to do the same shit. Pick and roll you to death. So like
Yeah.
that's just, and I think the Nuggets are the biggest threat to them. Clippers are already in talks of possibly trading Paul George, um, and also we haven't even seen them healthy to even know what they are. Um, and then they make a trade, or
The Clippers.
they were supposed to make a trade, but it fell
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to the other trades, that trade later. That actually went through, but like just how smart Chris Paul is and how smart Steph Curry is. Like that is like a match made in heaven. And I imagine if Chris Paul was like 30. He wasn't 37, he was 30. That shit would be that should be unstoppable.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, when it first happened, I remember telling you, like, Chris Paul is essentially about to step into the Sean Livingston role. Like, he's going to be expected to come in, hit mid range shots, like, be extremely efficient, and just, like, pass the ball and just be just the point guard, the coach on the floor, and, be that extension of Steve Kerr, and what he's going to be able to do for their bench if he does come off the bench. Because the Warriors, the thing is, the Warriors are actually a pretty young team. Like a lot of people, because their core is the same: Steph, Clay, Draymond, even Kevon Looney. People forget like a lot of the Warriors' key, like other players that they have under contract that have been there for a while are pretty young. Like Jonathan Kaminga, Moses Moody, like a lot of their other. I mean, even Andrew Wiggins. Like Andrew Wiggins is what, like a 7 year vet. Like he's not. I don't think he's hit, or
This is
9 year.
9 year. Yeah.
Yeah. So he hasn't even hit 10 years yet. So he's not even 30 yet. So it's like there's still a pretty good amount of youth on that team, and I think having Chris Paul, giving them like the opportunity to have another like true point guard, a highly, highly skilled and also high basketball IQ player on the floor, I think it's only going to make them even better. And I think having those types of guys is what has made the Warriors so great all along. Like not only having Steve Kerr, who himself is a high basketball IQ guy, but having guys like Draymond, who studies the film like a madman. Having guys like Steph, who's been in the league forever, Clay, who's been in the league forever. Like, having guys who are veterans, but who also take the actual craft very, very seriously. And then you add Chris Paul to that. So,
Think of the
I mean, it kind of
possibility.
just seems like a match made in heaven.
Think of the possibility of Steph winning ring number 5 and Chris Paul the year Steph wins ring number 5. Chris Paul gets his first. Like that, bro. That I'm at a situation where like when the Sixers lose in the second round next year, I think when they lose in the second round next year, like I want the Warriors to win. Like that's the team that I'm going to root for because Steph gets number 5, passes LeBron. Number 5 rings is ridiculous. Rings puts him in the Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant. It moves him up in his stature. It proves his legacy. Chris
Yeah,
Paul, I mean, Chris Paul legacy has already been written, but like that cements it for
yeah,
him. It probably even puts him up higher in the point guards all time. So like you got two guys who like legacy can continue to grow off of just winning one championship.
yeah.
And I just think they're going to be the team I root for when the Sixers eventually go out in the second round.
Stop saying that.
What?
Stop saying that.
Oh,
Don't
sorry.
say that.
Don't say the
Don't
Sixers.
say, don't jinx us. But, uh, hold on. Give me 1 second.
Uh,
Yes?
Also, I'm not jinxing us. It's going to happen. It is the last. We have been in the playoffs because it's just me and you now. Sean is being a father for the last 6, 7 years, right? I think 7 years we've been in playoffs. We've been in playoffs since 2018. Is that yeah, something like that. Majority of that time, 90%, 98%. I'm sorry, 98% of the time we lose in the second round. And why am I thinking that this is going to be any different? I don't see the urgency. I don't see any real change. Hello, Sean. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
no. There weren't any changes. I mean, there were two, but not any significant changes.
there is it's just what makes me go. And I just got a report that Tobias Harris's dad just calls out the Sixers. Cool.
For what?
And I'm a quote. I'm using his quote. Tobias Harris's what the fuck? Terrell
Tobias
Harris.
Harris.
No, Terrell Harris. I read it wrong.
Oh,
It looks. It says Tobias' dad calls out Sixers. That under it says Terrell Harris. It confuses me. Terrell
okay.
Harris says Philly is improperly utilizing his son as it just went down, assassin scorer. Who has ever deemed Tobias Harris as an assassin scorer?
So here's the thing. I'm half and half on this because he's not an assassin scorer. However, I do agree that he hasn't been used properly.
I've said this. This is why
You
I said
have,
trade him.
or bring him off the bench.
There's no you can't. I'm done. I've saw it before. I'm not bringing $30 million off the bench again. Just not doing it.
Listen, listen.
Not doing it. Not again.
We have no other option.
Yes, you do. Trade him.
I mean, yes, you have that option. But obviously, like we talked about before, you trade Tobias Harris. What are you looking for in return? A Tobias Harris like player. Which, sure, you might be able to find something kind of like that, but at the same time,
Oh, Sean, I don't wanna cut you off, but if you're watching this and like you just saw the pop up that has been coming up a lot, I have this McCaffrey thing that keeps popping up and telling me to buy it. It's
I think it's McAfee. Christian McCaffrey is a
what
football player.
whatever. It's that's how I remember it. It just keeps popping up because like my warranty's done. So like if you see this in the video, I'm sorry. Sean, back to you. What you're saying?
Well, what I was saying was that, like we said before, you trade Tobias Harris. The thing that you're looking for in return is a Tobias Harris like player, which, to be honest, I'd much rather just bring him up. He's got a year left.
But this is the thing. One of the teams, so three teams reportedly were interested in Tobias Harris. One team more than the other two, was the Pistons, the Pacers, and I believe what's the other team? What's the other team? While I'm looking at the other team, but the big thing was the Sixers were overvaluing Tobias Harris, and I'm trying to look for the other team. Oh, Suns. Oh, just got this 50 minutes ago. Sun, Jazz, and Mavericks are also showing interest in Tobias Harris. Um, Mavericks have nothing I want. But it was the Cavs. The Cavs were the other team. Cavs, Pistons, and the Pacers. They said the Pacers want Tobias Harris. They like the other teams have the other two I think more so inquired to see like
Yeah,
what it was. The Pacers want him, right? And the deal I think I don't know if they proposed a deal, but like if you were outlining a deal, Buddy Hill would have to be the main thing to coming back. And like you
yeah,
look at their team and it's like it's not really on their team because there are a whole bunch of young guys on their team, indoor players they just signed back. I mean, I guess Chris Dorte would be in it, and Buddy Hill. Like, cause like you got to think, you also think you're not getting much back for Tobias Harris. As much as his
right.
contract is good in a sense of the new CBA, and if you get it, you only take it on for 1 year, and then you let it go, or you just you get like whatever comes with it, most likely a couple seconds or maybe a protected first, and then you just probably wave him, stretch him out, whatever stuff like that. Pause, and you just stop, Judge, stop. Why do you do this?
It's unnecessary pause.
I mean, I felt like it had to be there.
It didn't, but okay, keep going.
I had to. Okay, whatever. I had to put it there. It was it's crazy how I said pause with that, but like I was talking about dick all earlier in the show. It's
You
crazy.
never said pause once,
Never
exactly,
said pause once. I'm sorry.
because
Selective.
you actually.
What? Say it.
But
What?
no,
Dick.
never mind.
Dick is a great player.
I'm not gonna fall into your immaturity trap. Okay.
Every, everyone loves Dick. He's a great player. You see that red suit Dick was wearing?
Yeah.
Looked like a fucking bedazzled condom.
He looked inflamed. An inflamed.
inflamed Dick. Okay. You said we were gonna move on, Sean. What happened? What happened? What happened?
You're rubbing off on me.
Oh shit! This is beautiful. Welcome, Sean. Welcome
I didn't mean it like that. You know I didn't mean it like that.
to the Dick fan club. Welcome.
No, no.
Welcome.
You have to say his first name too. You can't just say his
Never.
last name.
Never. He would never go by his first name on this podcast. He would never.
He. Okay, whatever. Anywho, as you were saying about the Pacers,
Oh, Pacers want him, and I guess they want to get off Buddy Hield, which I don't understand because Buddy Hield kind of fits their team, even though he's older. Tobias Harris, I think, is older than him. If I'm not
yeah.
mistaken, I think Buddy is like 28. He could
I
be
was gonna say
30.
not by much though.
If Buddy Hield is older, I'll be very much surprised.
No, he's not older.
Well, they're the same age.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't older. I knew they were close, but I knew Buddy wasn't older
Cause
because Buddy was one of those players that came out of college later.
and
I
also
think
remember
he
they
came
fucked
out
up
like
his
a
age.
sophomore, junior year.
Remember they fucked up his age,
Yeah,
and he was like,
yep.
"No, I mean, I just didn't say nothing because like I thought they were going to change it because I submitted everything, like I just thought they made a little messed up." But Buddy
I
Hill,
thought they just fixed their error.
like yeah, and he's like he went from being like I think he was like 26 at the time, and then he got put up to 27 or something like that, and people were like, damn, he's old. And I'm like, dog, you just you fucked up his
It's one.
age. It's 1 year. But anyway, he gets I make a side get sidetracked too often. Um, yeah, Buddy Hill would be centered in that package. They really want Tobias Harris. Um, we just did hear about three other teams that are interested in him, and also his dad called out the Sixers, so I feel like that kind of makes him the trade. I feel like even if they wasn't, they probably are now, because normally when the Sixers start to get called out by the dads, this is the third time this has happened. By
Well,
the way,
and,
Eh,
and this is also a bigger deal than normal because Tobias Harris's dad is also his agent.
yeah,
So it's not just his dad calling out the Sixers. It's an NBA agent calling out the Sixers.
yeah, and then also one or two things can happen. You can't lose James Harden and keep Tobias Harris. I don't believe you could also. I feel like you also can't bring back James Harden and keep Tobias Harris. I think you. This is the year he has to go, and then this is just
Mm,
kind of the icing on the cake of one. It yes, his dad is his agent, and also that probably kind of limits another guy who I like kind of interested in, and possible a potential signing trade, because Tobias Harris's dad is also the agent of Kelly Oubre, um,
mm,
who I also looked at as a potential candidate, especially if we do the trade Tobias Harris for nothing, just to get the cap, just to get some of the money back in cap space,
yeah,
which probably really doesn't give us much, especially if James Harden either opts in or resigns. And I would like to bring up the James Harden thing. Um, James Harden really ain't got no options. Like
no,
it looks like the Rockets just drafted a young point guard, in Amin Thompson. They also have Kevin Porter Jr. It just doesn't seem like in my personal opinion, I think that they would have traded their pick or traded back in the draft if they were trying to get a James Harden or trade for something more significant that would be more enticing for James Harden to like look, oh shit, they got this, and maybe they
right.
flip Jalen Green and go get that or some shit like that. I feel like they kind of doubled down last night, on what they were going to do. I think the Portland Trailblazers is another team I felt like doubled down on like what they believe and what they're going to do going forward. And I just don't think there is a team for James Harden to go to. Like I just don't see it.
I mean, prior to the whole Chris Paul for Bradley Beal thing, I would have thought that the Suns would have been a good option. I mean, I would have taken Chris Paul for James Harden. If we knew that James Harden was going to opt out, I would have been glad to get Chris Paul in
And
return.
I will throw this out there: James Harden still has not officially opt out.
Right.
He has until the 29th. Of course, the free agency starts the 30th, right? If I'm not mistaken, it is the
Yeah.
30th. Um, what is the 30th? Um, what day is that? I'm sorry, Sean. You could go on while I look this
I
up.
believe the 30th is it's a Friday.
It's a Friday. Oh fuck, I'm at work. Oh, that sucks. It sucks, but so much for free agency special. I mean, I called out last time. So what's
I
new?
mean, there's really not many. I mean, there's not hardly any options for James Harden, really, if we're being honest. I think now his last two options are number one, the Lakers. He probably couldn't go there in free agency, but I think there could be some sort of sign and trade, perhaps, maybe. I don't know. I think that would be the
Austin
only option as
Reeves.
far as like a, huh?
Austin Reeves.
I mean, I'll take him, but I think that's like one of the last destinations as far as like teams that are trying to win now that could use a guy like a James Harden. and then also the Clippers. But I mean, again, the Clippers are not sure what they want to do and what their future holds. So that might not be the best option either. Really,
Before like my mind, I'm just starting thinking about a whole bunch of like hypotheticals with hi Lena, with with the Tobias Harris. Let's hop into the next trade, um, which is Kristaps Porzingis is now a member of the Boston Celtics, and Marcus Smart is now a member of the Memphis Grizzlies. This trade shocked me because
the
the
Grizzlies got the original Dylan Brooks.
right the original Dylan Brooks, and it's crazy how I'm gonna point this out, and it might be a little bit of a reach, but Tony Allen left the Celtics at 29 and really went to the Memphis Grizzlies and changed was one of the guys who changed the culture.
Yeah,
Marcus Smart is leaving the Celtics at around 28 and going to the Memphis Grizzlies, who really need the culture to change right now.
yeah,
And I think Marcus Smart puts them online. I think he comes in, especially with John Morant being gone for 25 games. He really helps them out a lot in terms of mentality wise. I think he's the reverse. He's the. You ever see like the movies where like there's a fucking devil on one side and there's an angel on the other? He's a, he's
yeah.
he's the
Like the evil twin.
yeah, he's like the gritty angel. He's gonna teach you to do it the right way, and he's
Yeah,
smart, and he's one of those guys that you love to have on your team, you hate to go against,
yeah,
and he's just a leader in every sense of the
yeah.
word. And it really surprised me that they traded him because the original trade was for Malcolm Brogdon to get traded. And we'll talk about Michael Brogdon after this, but like the original trade was for Michael Brogdon to go to L.A. and I'm still to get KP, and I think Marcus Morris was going to go to the Washington Wizards. And it's crazy that like this trade fell apart and then got remodeled within I want to say 4 hours.
Yeah.
So like it literally had to be okay. This is not going to work. We really want KP. Let's trade Marcus, and Marcus has been essentially their version of Draymond Green, where like he's the
Mhm.
connector, he's the heart and soul. What do you think about them losing basically probably their biggest piece, their glue piece?
Well, it was definitely an interesting trade. I think on paper, with Robert Williams, leaving, KP is obviously a great addition. He doesn't give you what Robert Williams gave you in the sense of like, just the athleticism and like the just toughness. But he is obviously still an amazing weapon, especially offensively. However, the interesting thing about like Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon is that if they were going to get rid of one of them, it makes a little bit of sense that they chose Marcus Smart. And the reason why is because number one, Malcolm Brogdon, I think, proved his value in the playoffs last year, coming off the bench, being an amazing backup point guard and scorer for them. But also remember, Marcus Smart had like some issues with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and you can say like that was him being sort of the Draymond Green of this team, but I just don't think they took it well. Like there were some comments that were made by Marcus Smart involving not just you know the style of play for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, like basically saying that they need to learn how to pass the fucking ball like earlier in the season, but even later in the season, he
That
made
was
some comments about
that was last year when they were
yeah,
losing, when
yeah,
they were like before they made that run
yeah,
to
earlier in this. I'm sorry, earlier in last season,
yeah.
but this season also making comments about coaching, um, about Joe Mazzulla not necessarily making adjustments in a timely manner uh, that they definitely desperately needed. Um, so it was. I don't want to say it was a matter of time, but I think Marcus Smart. I think the problem is I don't know if the Boston Celtics value that the way that the Warriors value Draymond.
And you said I just want to bring back up something you said. You said that they made a right decision of trading Marcus Smart. over Malcolm
I don't
Brogdon.
even know. I don't even know if they made the right decision, but I think for them it was sort of a toss up, and I think Malcolm Brogdon sort of proved that he can fill Marcus Smart's shoes at least on the court.
This is why I think they fucked up. I don't believe they did better without Marcus Smart for the simple fact of why that trade fell through. The reason that trade fell through was because they got Malcolm Brogdon's injury report of what he's currently going through, and the Clippers said fuck no.
I mean,
That
that makes sense.
that on top of the fact that Marcus Smart, even if you want to say he had a problem with Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, their style of play, after he said that shit, they went on that run. So I think they responded well to it. I don't think they. I mean, it could have been like salty feelings or whatever. Like we saw P.J. Tucker get into fucking Joel Embiid's face, and you saw Joel's face, but you also saw what Joel did after. I feel like they responded well, and I look at after an incident happened how that team performs. Paul Reed in that game hit what 4 clutch free throws to damn near
Yeah.
ice the game. How he responded, they responded after him was they went on this crazy ass run that took them from I think they were like the 7th seed to like the 2nd seed. Like they went on this crazy ass run. So I don't I mean maybe they were salty for the first couple days or whatever after he said that, but I think they responded well because look what they did. And then I think I look at that taking that piece out when they start to unravel again, who the fuck is going to bring them back?
But see, this is what I meant by I don't know if the Celtics value that the same way the Warriors do. I think the Warriors probably look at the results, whereas the Celtics are looking more at the behavior. I think it's the same thing with Ime Udoka. Like, sure, what he did was fucked up, but was it worth him getting fired? I
No,
mean, I don't
they
know. Based off
I
of what came out, I don't know. Especially when he just took them to the finals. So it's like I think for the Celtics, it's more about the behavior. They're thinking about it of like, is this going to be a reoccurring issue with him saying shit that gets people salty, even if it's just for a couple days? They're thinking about it like, is this going to keep going on? What if they don't make it to what if they don't have that run? Then what does he do? Like they're looking at it more so from this perspective of like, we don't know if that's the type of behavior or culture that we want to build where somebody has to say some wild shit in order to get those or some type of results.
and another thing I would throw in is Marcus Smart is one of those players who gets better in the playoffs. His
Yeah.
impact gets more pronounced in the playoffs. We saw Brogdon not only deal with injuries, but before he was injured, not shoot the ball as well. We saw Derek White not shoot the ball as well. Whereas though Marcus Smart goes from a 33% shooter to damn near 39% shooter in terms of threes in the playoffs, his playmaking becomes better. His ability to make the other teams commit turnovers, make silly
Yeah.
fouls, frustration fouls, like his ability to do that is going to be missed. So like my biggest thing is like the I don't believe what happened between the Celtics was him. Like when they before they made when they run last year, I think it was between Jalen and Jaden. I think it was between those two, and he
Yeah.
was like basically went to the media like y'all gotta get y'all shit together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Them two. I don't believe it was him going. I don't like these guys. I think it was more so those two, the heads of your team in terms of talent, were
Yeah.
were butting heads, and he was trying to basically put out there in front of the media because like a lot of people don't like shit that goes to the media, but when shit goes to the media, shit normally gets like handled in a quick manner of like
Right.
okay, we gotta get our shit together because now they're gonna be looking at us like
But see, that's what I mean by behavior. Even if he wasn't like the direct reason, he was still the one who said something to the media, not to the. He might have been saying something to his teammates. We don't know. But the fact that he was the first and only person to go to the media with something, I think that's the type of behavior that they're like, all right, we don't need this type of shit getting out like this. And so far, it's been him every time. You know what I mean? Even with like I said, like some of the criticism towards the end of the year last year, like the lack of adjustments or just whatever, like it's usually Marcus Smart that's the first person to say something to the world.
but
And
also
that's maybe what they have an issue with. Even if it does lead to some type of results, at the same time, it's like, bro, that probably won't work every time. There might come a time where you end up like screwing us by doing this.
But I also think look at the Warrior system. Look at Draymond, and you say you probably don't think they value Marcus Smart like they value Draymond, but also you kind of see like they kind of do. Like it was a late game situation, and they drew up a play for Marcus Smart to shoot a three. They ain't throw up a play for one of the Jays to do it. They drew up that play for Marcus Smart to get that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the confidence in him is there, and obviously he's tenured. He's seen a lot. He's been there. Like I said, the heart and soul. You don't become the heart and soul in a year. You normally are the guy who's there from the beginning to like
Yeah.
damn near the end. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
I
Draymond's
think the
case,
confidence from coaching has always been there, but from ownership and management, that's a different story. We don't get to see how they feel about him as much. In their eyes, him and Malcolm Brogdon, after what they saw last year, him and Malcolm Brogdon might not be that far apart.
but I just don't understand how you could see somebody who's literally falling apart. Malcolm Brogdon, this is not just this is a new thing. Malcolm Brogdon, the reason the Bucks weren't trying to match his offer when he went to the Pacers is because of his injuries. The reason
Yeah,
like they traded for Malcolm Brogdon for dirt cheap is because of his injuries. Like it's like something
but
that
he's
has.
also dirt cheap.
But yeah, he's dirt cheap. But if he constantly breaks down and you can't even use the dirt cheap item, and now he's getting paid $20 million. His I think his contract is going up now. His money he's making like $22 million now, and it's
Yeah.
like no like to the fact where the Clippers didn't even want to lose Marcus Morris, who they're trying to trade.
But see, the Clippers are in an interesting position because they have the worst injury history in the league. So the sheer proposition of any player with any type of injury
That's true.
history is probably going to scare the Clippers off. So that's a little bit of a different circumstance. If you went to the Blazers and said we'll give you Malcolm Brogdon for somebody on a Marcus Morris level, you damn right the Blazers are giving that person up. I think the Clippers are in an interesting circumstance where they just need guys who are guaranteed like going to play.
I mean that could be true as well. I didn't think about that injury part for the Clippers, but like still just in a mindset in like what can you get for him now? Because I don't believe. We also didn't talk about the other part that Kristaps Porzingis is now a part of the Boston Celtics. How that helps them. I think it hurts them more than it helps them.
I
Um,
mean, we touched on it a little bit. Like I said, I don't know if Kristaps gives you what a guy like Robert uh, gives you, but for them, they're probably looking at it of like maybe this is the Al Horford replacement, not necessarily the Robert Williams replacement.
but this is my thing. This is my whole thought process. Is that I mean, well, yes, he could be the Al Horford replacement, and he would be a better thing. Is also he's getting paid $30 million,
Yeah,
and there was talks that they're going to try to extend him, and obviously he probably ain't gonna make that money again. But also he's getting paid $30 million,
yeah,
so it's like, are you going to trade Al Horford? Like a lot of people were saying, like Boston is going to be very active. We see them in the draft constantly move back, multiple times. Multiple times. I
yeah,
think they moved back probably like 5 times in the draft. Traded their first round pick for a 31st pick. Traded the 31st pick for like the 40th pick. Traded the 40th pick for like they constantly move back in the draft to like I guess keep their payroll down. And like you got somebody making $30 million, and you also got to throw a bag at Jaylen Brown. It's like was Kristaps worth it? I
right,
mean, he's a better Al Horford, but at the same time, he's not a playmaker. He
right.
has crazy injury history, even though last year was kind of more so an anomaly compared to his rest of his career. Um, and then on top of that, he's fucking paper thin. You're going against Giannis and Joel Embiid, and Kristaps is going to get eaten alive. Like he draws them out to make them guard him because he's a 3 point shooter. He's basically a fucking 7-3 shooting guard. But like he can't do much else. Like his rim
Yeah,
protection is so. He hasn't been the same since New York. Um, this year was his best season by far, but it was just because he was healthy. And like,
yeah,
how much can you see him being more healthy in a system where like they're use their bigs more so as pick and roll, lobs. Like he's not. You know, I mean, I don't really ever see him catch a lobs. anymore. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how they're going to really use him other than to be a stretch big. Really,
I mean, like I said, he's probably going to end up being the Al Horford replacement in the sense that he's probably not going to catch a whole lot of lobs, but he's probably not going to catch contested lobs. I'll say he'll get the dump offs and like the more uncontested like dunker spot kind of lobs. Um, but it'll be a lot of pick and pop mostly with Kristaps. Now with that being said, is that worth $30 million? Hell no. Especially considering the fact that you've now, like we just said, you lost Marcus Smart. You're hoping you can get something similar out of Malcolm Brogdon. You've essentially, you,
Sean's being a father.
anyway, you've now put this amount of faith in two players who are injury riddled,
as
right?
in, as
So I think that's the biggest thing for the Celtics right now is like, is your team going to be healthy come the playoffs? Not even
because Robert Williams
can
couldn't
they,
play as well because of injuries. You got Malcolm
right?
Brogdon injuries, Chris Stapps injury history. Um, Jalen Brown I think had some injuries. Had some shoulder injury, had a hand
Yeah,
injury. Like
he was
we,
wearing a mask, and like,
yeah, like he's. It's like obviously players can overcome. We've seen it in Joel, even though he gets hurt at the end of every fucking first round series. Like
but
we've
see, the
seen it.
thing about Joel is that he's so great, even when he's not at 100%, he's still easily the second best center in the league. He's still a 25 point per game scorer plus 8 or 9 rebounds. Like he's still an amazing player, even at 75%. You know what I mean? So, like Jalen Brown at 75% is not gonna give you
No,
25 points a game
and
in a
then
7 game series.
even though the Celtics, like if you're a Celtics fan, you're watching it, like we beat you. We saw a lot of flaws in Jalen Brown, like a lot. Like
Jason Tatum.
we Jason Tatum too, but Jason Tatum kind of redeemed himself a little bit. Um, and then
Jason Tatum had 2 good games. No, Jason Tatum had one good game and then a good quarter.
bro, I listen. When you drop 50 and eliminate a team, you gotta.
But
You,
but see, I agree and I get that, but Joel had 3 straight 30 point games. James Harden had 2 40 point games. Like I get Jalen. I mean, I get Jason Tatum's game came in the most timely like
it's
point of the
it's the
series,
it's
but
the
at the same
lasting
time,
it's the
the
lasting
Sixers had the
impressions though.
better players the entire series.
But
Boston just had the better team.
it's the
But now they
lasting
don't have the better team.
it's the lasting impression. It's always gonna
Yeah,
be what happened last. Like you
sure.
can like if Kawhi would have averaged damn near 60 points in a series, but he got fucking swept. Nobody's gonna go, oh well, Kawhi. Look at Kawhi. He averaged 60 points. They're gonna go, well, this motherfucker got swept. So he did that shit for no fucking reason. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
but
it's
but we
always
talking
gonna
about a
be.
7 game series though.
But at the same point, he got hot when he needed to. When the
Yeah,
season was on the line, he got hot, and in a closing out game goes for 50. And you could go. He did the same shit against Miami where he went cold. He went cold. He had some hot games. He went cold in the quarter. He'll be hot. Yes, that is very much inconsistency, and it's something that they should definitely look into. But they're not gonna do much about it. What can you do? It's kind of like with Joel. Like Joel not scoring a lot in the last game. It's like you're not gonna go and trade Joel just because of one series. No, you're gonna go fuck it. We're gonna try to do our best to be better than next year. And like
yeah.
that's literally all you can do when you have superstar guys. But when you go to back to the role player situation with the Malcolm Brogdons, the Kristaps Porzingis now, and the Robert Williams, like not only is there inconsistency in them, there's also the inconsistency to be on the floor, and that's going to hurt Boston a lot. And like I'm the opposite of a Boston fan, but like that trade, losing Marcus Smart, shook me. Like it shook me as a
I was upset
Sixer
we
fan.
didn't go after him.
As a Sixer fan who fucking hates the Celtics, I hate everything involving the Celtics. I was pissed. because you like I don't know if I was pissed because like what he means to our organization and how like we don't really have that guy who is not the star of the team, but like I mean I guess PJ's more so that now, but like he's still like old, he's old as hell, but like the guy who's not the star of the team or not one of the stars of the team, maybe
Yeah,
D'Anthony Melton, but like somebody who's long tenured, who's been there, who's seen a lot of shit. You know, maybe what like if they would have kept TJ McConnell around, would have been for
yeah,
us. Like even that, like loss to TJ, like hit hard because like oh shit, that's TJ, bro. Like that's somebody we seen before the fucking Nike even sponsored the jerseys. We talk about the old ass Sixer jerseys,
yeah,
the fucking ones AI retired in. Like and then we see him, you know, if he was still on the team, like he's the vocal guy, like we both said, he was vocal, who's getting in people's face, shit like that. Like trading him when we let him go, when we let him walk, that shit hurt. And to
yeah,
see you guys do it, him being a better version of TJ McConnell, him being there longer, seeing y'all, you know, go farther and y'all going to the finals, Eastern Conference Finals multiple times, and him being one of the main cogs of that, and y'all just like trade him for somebody who was on a 1 year deal. Shit goes left, he leaves, you're fucked.
I had mixed emotions about it because on one hand I was very happy that we would not have to play against him in the playoffs ever again. Not ever again, but at least not next year.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I was very sad because I was like, well, shit. I mean, why didn't we go after him if he was available? Like, why didn't we make some sort of push to try and get? I mean, if we know we're trying to get rid of Tobias Harris, why not try to go after somebody like a Marcus Smart and then have a little bit of cap space to go and sign somebody else?
With all due
Like,
respect, I don't want no more fucking former Celtics.
I mean,
I don't want no more. I
see
don't want
the
no more.
difference. The difference is number one, you're not signing him to an outrageous deal. You're trading for him, and number two, you're not getting him with the anticipation of him being a starter and starting and being like the last missing piece in the puzzle of the starting lineup. You're getting him thinking, okay, guy is going to be our defensive or just a spark off the bench. Period. He's going to come in. He's going to play probably next to D'Anthony Melton, and
I probably would
you know,
start him
I don't know if I would start him because
if
start him where at the three.
if James didn't come back and you traded for him. I would
Well,
start him.
no, yeah, okay. So that's another thing. He would be great to have if James didn't come back. But if he did, that's just added depth, which was one of our biggest issues last year.
I don't know. I mean, I probably would be higher on him if like there was rumors that he was going to be traded. But like once you already traded, it kind of like I don't know. Like we talk about it and it's like all right, but cool, but like it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like
No,
I don't
no,
know.
of course not.
That's kind of
But
like my
but
how my
that's why I
mental
was
is
saying,
on
like,
him.
that's why I was a little bit sad about it because it's like, oh, like nobody I think anticipated Marcus Smart.
Sorry, Chad. Sorry.
Anyway, I'm back. But prior to him being available, prior to him being traded, I think if we knew he was available,
I don't
there
think
would have been
they
at
knew
least a
that he
little
was
bit more
available.
carry.
I
I
don't even
mean, no,
think I don't even
I don't
think
think anybody knew.
I don't think he was available. Like I'm keeping it a bug with you. I don't think he was available. I think Brad Stevens wanted Porzingis for some reason.
Yeah,
That he was like it kind of was tunnel vision. If it's like kind of if that makes sense, like kind of Daryl Morey with James Harden, where like
yeah,
he wanted his guy, he wanted him, and no matter what, he was going to get him. Trading 2 first round picks, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 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 and
and
Ben Simmons, who I forgot who was the main piece of that trade, but
yeah,
um like for him, everybody was like, that's probably too much, especially when there was reports that he was going to sign with you anyway. It just like you got greedy and was like, oh, we want to do it right now. We want to do it right now. Where you could have had all that shit plus James Harden in the offseason. Where James Harden was going to do a signing trade, and everybody knows when you sign or trade a star, the team losing the star does not get the best deal. They don't. You would have probably
No,
they probably would have got Ben Simmons and probably won first, and that probably would have been it, or probably couple like probably 4 seconds, and that would have been the trade.
I think it would have probably been Ben first and Seth,
I don't think it would be Seth because
or I mean, or Andre. But either way, it wouldn't be
think
both
about
of them,
this.
and it wouldn't be
But
two
think about
firsts.
this: the Sixers could have traded Ben somewhere else, freed up the cap, and just signed fucking James Harden. They didn't necessarily need them,
Yeah,
but like if
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, like they could have just freed up the cap, traded Ben to Sacramento, and said, "Hey, just keep him," and then just go, "Hey, come on, James, we're just sign you into the cap we have." They could have just
yeah.
did that. Could have,
That's true.
but like it was so greedy and to have it that you threw more shit into the trade because once more they only threw Seth Curry in the trade because they didn't want to trade Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah,
They didn't ask for Seth. It was supposed to be Danny Green, Matisse Thybulle, and fucking Ben Simmons, and I think it was like one first in like a couple seconds. But no, they wanted to trade. They didn't want to trade Matisse, and Matisse was another thing they really wanted. They was like, all right, cool, give me Seth and Andre, because the Sixers were like, we got to keep we got to keep one shooter on the team. Like, you got tunnel vision that you wanted your guy so bad that you did something that fucked up the team because
yeah,
we needed that shooting. We needed that backup big because you decided to play fucking DeAndre Jordan. Like we needed that. And with them trading Marcus Smart, I feel as though, like I said, when shit starts to unravel and the Jays don't see head to head anymore, in the moments of like we know how it was, we had Ben and Joel, where like the guys aren't really talking, and then you hear reports of, this guy doesn't talk to this guy, and this guy
yeah.
doesn't do this, or these guys go out together and these guys don't, and like guys start making clicks and stuff like that. When that shit happens, who's gonna do it? Like I don't see Al Horford as that guy. I see him as one of the guys you kind of go to when they're like, oh, cool. He's a reliable guy. I'm like a Tobias Harris. I see more of a Tobias Harris mindset of Al Horford, where it's like, guys, come on, let's read a book or some shit like that. Like that's who I think of
Let's
Al
go to
Horford.
dinner.
Let's go to dinner, guys. Like that's who I think of, like a nice guy who's been around, who's seen some stuff, who probably isn't the most vocal, but like he can like kind of rally the troops. But like sometimes you need a motherfucker to get in your face and go, "You fucked up. Don't do that shit again." Like you need that guy
Yeah,
sometimes, and I
yeah.
don't believe they have that no more. Because if the Jays are already going through these problems, they can't do it to each other. Because that might just make one other one request a trade like that. It's. I think they kind of fucked up.
I think the I don't think the Jays stay together long. I'll say that. I don't think that union lasts much longer. I think the playoffs proved, even though, like you said, Jason Tatum got hot when he needed to, I think the playoffs sort of proved that under pressure, Jalen Brown is the more consistent scorer.
100%. Like literally, it was
Um,
it was times in the playoffs where I was like, guard double Jalen Brown and let Jason
yeah,
Tatum beat you. Like it was
yeah.
times where that, like it might sound crazy in hindsight because Jason Tatum basically gamed us in that series, but like at the same
But the
time,
series might not have went that long if you did that.
right? Because
Right.
Jalen Brown was the consistent guy. He was the guy where I'm gonna take the ball out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and then you kind
Yeah,
of slowly get yourself back in rhythm, and then we close out.
yeah.
If
And I,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think from a coaching perspective, not even just coaching, because obviously Joe Mazzulla was a first year head coach or whatever, so you got to give him at least a little leeway. But I mean, this is something that's been happening since even before Joe Mazzulla was there. Like, there's this there's this idea in the league that you have to have like a number one guy and a number two guy, which sure, I don't know, maybe that's the case or whatever, but there's always the opinion that the number one guy is the guy in the fourth quarter. And it's like, if Jalen Brown's been been the guy the entire game, why on earth would you come to the fourth quarter and say, "Okay, JT,
It's your
your
turn.
time to shine"? Yeah, and it's like now you have situations where the guy who was scoring almost all of your points in the first three quarters gets to the fourth quarter and he's deferring.
And now he's cold when they need him now because he didn't.
Exactly.
He's Like these guys are both rhythm players. Like you see it in their game. Like
Right.
majority of their game is rhythm. Like if they're on rhythm, you're fucked. But if one of
Right.
them are off rhythm, you have a chance. If neither one of them of rhythm, you better hope that Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon are doing some shit because you're 9 times out of 10 not gonna win that game. Like
And
that.
I think this is probably Jalen Brown's best case to either A, get more money,
No, he's
like a
gonna get
lot
that.
of money,
He's gonna get that money.
or B, like ask for a sign and trade and go somewhere where he can be the guy.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The After trading Marcus Smart, who is universally loved as a Celtics nation and Celtics fan, you gotta go. You gotta give him the bread. Not just that, but also he was your most consistent player. But also you can't lose the fan base. You cannot afford, and I feel like that's two losses. That's two
But
major
see, that's the
losses.
thing. I feel like Jalen Brown has already. Jalen Brown was never a fan. I mean, obviously, I'm not a Celtics fan, so I don't know. I don't live in Boston, but you get the feeling that Jalen Brown was never a fan favorite.
But
Like,
it's also kind of if you don't if Jalen Brown walks right, you traded Marcus Smart, Jalen Brown walks. The fuck are you gonna do? Like
no,
even
I think the Celtics would be more upset if nothing happens than if Jalen Brown gets traded and they get something that they value in return. Like the Celtics fan base would be more upset if Jalen Brown just walks than if Jalen Brown gets traded.
mm,
Does that make sense? Like I don't think they're so attached to him. I don't think he's such a fan favorite that they're that concerned with losing him. I think it's more so they don't want to lose him for nothing.
yeah.
So like I don't know, like Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown kind of reminds me a little bit of like how Donovan Mitchell was in Utah, but not quite
But
because Donovan
also
Mitchell was loved in Utah, but also Donovan Mitchell himself wasn't feeling Utah like that.
but also what I was saying, obviously Tobias Harris is not at anywhere, shape, form, breath, land, sea, air ways close to Jalen Brown. But like the simple fact that we once went like the thing I proposed to you of like if obviously we kind of we're in an F situation if James Harden leaves, trading Tobias, even trading Tobias no matter what, but like the simple fact that we are in a simple place, we're in a place where James Harden walks. The best thing for us to do is to trade Tobias for nothing. That's
Right,
one of the, you know what I'm saying, is like literally because it's not necessarily a bad thing, especially I mean I guess like I said it probably not as significant because Tobias Harris is not as good as a player as Jalen Brown, but like in our case trading Tobias Harris for nothing actually would work in terms of helping us build the team because the cap space that will open up, and that also is assuming James Harden would decline his option. But like, you know, trading for I mean I don't also even that I saying that I
well,
feel
I don't
stupid.
even know if I would say trading Tobias for nothing is the best option. I think the best
I
option
mean,
is
well,
trading Tobias for Dame.
one of the options
Oh yeah,
is
I think
it's a
I think
legit option. It's not like it's frowned upon or anything like that. If push came to
yeah,
shove, trading Tobias if James Harden walked. I mean, trading Tobias is kind of inevitable right now. It's going to happen.
yeah,
It's kind of like the Matisse type of thing. Like when like rumors came out and people started talking, and you hear like his name in trade talks. It's kind of like it's only a amount of time. It's
yeah,
only like Tobias Harris could be traded on June 30th once free agency starts.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and
It would be a sign and trade.
yeah, I mean not even necessarily a sign and trade. Like he's on the
No, I
contract.
mean like for if another player wanted a sign and trade,
Yeah, it'll be a sign and
it
trade.
might be something like that.
It'd be a sign and trade, or it just might be not necessarily a salary dump because I feel like anywhere Tobias goes really is going to be a salary dump in the sense that I don't think that there's another star coming back for Tobias. I think
Right.
I think it's more still going to be role players, and with that,
Yeah.
like I threw in the Wizards, who have a lot of role players, that are. I really liked it when they had that Marcus Morris deals because I thought Marcus Morris on this team, the guy who kind of like a J.R. Smith, never seen a shot he didn't like, never lose
Yeah.
confidence type of guy. That's kind of what we need. A guy who doesn't even think about it, just fucking shoots. He shoots before he has the ball. Like we need
Yep.
those guys. And Tobias thinks about it. He dribbles. He wants to post up. wants to be a point guard. It's like, bro, we don't need that. And I feel
Yeah,
like there's a lot of guys with a lot of teams being broken down. Um, that especially the Wizards right now, where they're kind of rope. They got Tyus Jones. They got Monte Morris. They got what's his name? I don't know. They just got him. They just got him. Landry Shamet. Like a lot of
yeah,
those guys, where you go, we trade you Tobias, Furkan, a first round pick in 2029, and by June 30th, we also have access to a first round pick in 2030. June 30th, that pick becomes available to trade. You could be in a situation where like you'll go, all right, hey, here's the 2030 pick, top 5 protected for Tobias Harris. Give us Monte Morris, Landry Shamet, and whatever. That could just be the trade. Like Monte
yeah,
Morris, Landry Shamet, and then let PJ run the floor. I mean, it's kind of small, but like at the same time, it's. I guess we're getting. You're what I'm like looking for, and what you've mentioned like, is who is the power forward, who is the guy that kind of like replaces Tobias Harris in terms of the size and the ability to be kind of a two-way player. And I understand that too. And like honestly, when I've been looking for trades and making trades, that's also what I've been looking at. To find guys who could fit that hole. And then it's kind of not a lot out there unless you sign like what I mentioned, Harrison Barnes, who's basically Tobias Harris 2.0. Like he literally is. But only difference is he would just shoot the ball. He has no problem shooting.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
that's probably your
I,
best bet because like it's more wings like 6'6", 6'5" wings out there than it is like 6'8", 6'9"
yeah,
guys available at least.
yeah. That's the thing. The wings are getting smaller. I mean, the NBA as a whole is getting smaller. If you don't have a Joel Embiid or a Nikola Jokic, you probably don't have a
Or a
real center at
Wimby.
all, or a Wemby. You probably don't have a real center at all. So the league as a whole is getting smaller. But at the same time, when if you were to move Tobias Harris, you need somebody who's going to be able to defend. You need at least one person who's going to be able to defend the rare 6'8", 6'9" wing that we do come across, especially in the Eastern Conference, where you have Chris Middleton, Jason Tatum, Jalen. I mean, Jalen Brown's not 6'8", but
I would throw in
like you
regular
have
season.
guys, Scotty Barnes, like
I would throw in
there's
regular
guys out
season
there.
though. I would go regular season. You need somebody to do that during the regular season
Well, yeah, but I mean,
because
like we talked about last time, regular season, although it's not the most important, it does matter for at least seeding purposes.
no, I'm saying because majority of the people that we would go against, like if we would go against a Giannis, if we would go against a Jimmy, PJ 9 times out of 10 would get that assignment
Yeah,
versus Tobias Harris, who would probably get the lesser of the evils, the lesser
yeah,
of two
of course.
evils. Whereas like Tobias here, yeah, go ahead, guard Jimmy in the regular season, but PJ, you gotta, you know, he's
But
gonna.
but
Good,
even then, like having both is still valuable
yeah,
because, like I said, you do have some teams where
there
they
are
have
wings.
two.
Yeah,
Like the Bucks. Like I didn't even say Giannis. I said Chris Middleton. like
who
who's
declined his option?
who also declined his option, which was interesting. Let's talk about that real quick.
I'm
What do you think the purpose of that is? Because I was talking with a friend of mine. He said that he wants more money. I thought it might be that, or it could be that he's trying to do a James Harden, Draymond. I mean, we don't know what Draymond's doing, but he could be trying to do something where he resigns on a smaller contract so the Bucks can have the money to go and get somebody.
Chris Middleton is definitely that type of guy. Where
Yeah,
like you guys gave him the opportunity, you guys gave him the chance. He became an all
gave him the
star.
bag.
You give him a bag. You got a
He got a
championship.
championship.
Like
Yeah,
he'll go fuck it. Like whatever the team needs. Kind of like what James Harden did. Whatever the team needs, throw me the rest. Like you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like he might just be doing that. But also Brooke Lopez might be out the door because
right.
there's a lot of multiple things, and this might be the I don't know if this is the James Harden move, but like Brooke Lopez has been heavily linked to the Houston Rockets, and they are a legit threat to pull away Brooke Lopez from the Bucks, and which I don't understand because they have Sengun, and he was very good. He was getting utilized well, but also you could probably play them together because
Yeah.
single is a playmaker. Brook could shoot threes.
I mean, they also have Jabari Smith.
Who could
I
slide
don't know
down
if you
to
would play. I don't know if
slide
you
down
would
to three.
play.
His game is perimeter centric. So
Yeah.
like he could slide down to a three. He does have handle. He can. He's one of those guys who can play whatever,
Yeah.
especially in a Houston Rockets system. I think this is the Rockets' attempt to be more competitive. He was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He has changed his game completely, so he is and plus he is a vet, so he can, kind of calm down the guys in the locker room. Because between fucking the Rockets, the Hornets, and the Grizzlies, they are like probably the more troubled locker room. I think the Grizzlies kind of solved their problem with Marcus
Yeah.
Smart because he's not for all that shit. And then Brook Lopez, another guy who's not taking shit. Um, and you just waiting for the Hornets to solve their problem, and that's why I did okay. It's out of basketball. It's not a basketball thing. I didn't want Brandon Miller to go to the Hornets. I just didn't want that for him as a player.
Mm.
As a player, it makes sense, but off the court, it does not. And that's what scared me about him going to Hornets, where it's like there's like Miles Bridges, what's his name? They drafted Book Knight,
Yeah.
Devontae Graham, like all those guys, DUIs, domestic, like just is it's no real vets there, because like what we
Yeah.
said, Gordon Hayward's there just to collect a check at this point. Terry Rozier is not really a vet, and that you will probably want around your guys. Kelly Oubre is probably more like a party dude. Like I don't want him there. And obviously, if you don't know the situation, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they mentioned it at least 75 times during the draft. That he was in that thing where like his teammate killed a mother, a young mother, and he provided them the gun or whatever stuff like that. Whereas that you want him to go to a place where, even if that's not his character, and that was just a once in a wrong place, wrong time situation, you don't want him to go to a place where there's no culture set
Yeah.
and all. And like I've been to North Carolina, and North Carolina, kind of the hood. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like
Well,
Philly, especially Charlotte. It's kind of like Philly, where like you can go, you can end up. Like, there's good places, and there's obviously if you stick to yourself, you're cool. But there's a lot of things to get lost in. It's not Miami, but like you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Like there's
I
ways
think
you get
I,
lost.
I think there's that's also one of the advantages of being in a big market, right? Like a Miami or a New York
I mean,
or
well, Miami
LA.
probably would work for him because of how
Well,
big.
no, I mean like one of the advantages of being in a big market in the sense that yes, like every major city in America has a hood, but there's so much other shit going on that you might do something and it might not even make the news. Where like, for example, Jalo Okafor doing 100 miles per hour across Ben Franklin Bridge. The only people who knew about that were people who cared about basketball.
And
Whereas like if you're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you do that, everybody cares because that's the biggest story in Charlotte, North Carolina right
and
now.
also the Sixers weren't on shit. They won 10 games that year, so like nobody was
Yeah,
paying attention to us anyway.
even there were even less people
But
paying
like you got,
attention to it than it normally would be.
but think about it. Lonzo, Lamelo Ball, he generates a lot of attention.
Yep.
Just like
But that's what
just
I'm saying. Like the Hornets are
a fun
like
team.
the
Yeah,
story.
yeah, they're
like
a fun team. But like it's just like I wanted him to go to a place where like there was already like if he would have say San Antonio would have got the number two, like I would love him to go there. Like I and obviously I don't know him as a person, so I don't know if that was like I said a wrong place, wrong time type situation. But like
hmm
you would want a guy like that, like what's his name, Jalen Carter, who just
I
got
was just gonna
drafted.
say it's just like Jalen Carter.
Just got drafted to the Eagles, where like this is a perfect situation because you got Fletcher Cox, you got all these veterans, Jason Kelsey, like you got so many veterans around him
Yeah.
that see his potential, that have probably made mistakes in their life, who are probably like you're seeing a lot of shit and can go
And not only that, they're a team that's trying to win.
right.
So it's like, yeah, you may be talented, but we got talent. If you fuck up, we're not gonna hesitate about letting you go. Like we wanted you bad, but we don't need you. We were just in the Super Bowl last year without you.
Yeah.
So if you fuck up, you're gone. Whereas in Charlotte, it's like you get six chances.
you get you
Like
only get you only get 6 chances.
you only get six.
You only get six.
All right,
And then if you use up all
only
your six, you get 7. But we're not
right.
going
And
over
that's just
10.
extra points per game. By the time you hit six, if you're scoring 19 to 20 points per game, we'll maybe give you a seven. Okay.
Okay, and then once you use up your 7th, you only get 12 more chances. Like, you listen to me now, okay?
Right.
You only get 12 more. Okay, we're starting
Right.
back at 0. You get
Yeah.
12 more.
Whereas, like, if you go to a team that's winning,
It's like, bro, fuck
that
out of
doesn't
here.
necessarily need you, and they're trying to win, it's like, bro, you get one chance, and this is it. You're in it.
Bro, you got it. You got a half a chance, bro. Come on,
Yeah.
show me, do
You
something
really
cool.
do have a half a chance because it don't matter where you were picked. If you're coming into a team that was already winning, motherfucker, we already got a starting small forward.
Like,
You got to compete with him to even get on the floor. I don't care if you were
yeah,
drafted.
bro, they literally looking at you like, bro, listen, we already got a starting small forward. We don't even know why we drafted you, bro. You were just the best person available. Like,
It's literally like, I mean, I know it's not like 100% the same situation because that guy was a generational talent. But Tim Duncan, when he got drafted, like you already got David Robinson. We're fine if you don't turn out to be the thing that we expect you to be. But we still drafted you number one because
yeah,
we're expecting you to be amazing. So
this,
please be amazing.
this, this,
But if you're
this,
not amazing, it's okay.
this reminds me of that Greg Popovich. I don't always fuck up his name. Pop's quote when he had Kevin Love and Blake Griffin, who he was coaching an All Star game, and Kevin Love and Blake Griffin were both first timers, and they barely made it in. They were like the last guys made it in, and I think Kevin Love was like third year, and I think Blake Griffin was a rookie. And he goes, guys, we're going out there, we're gonna have great, we're gonna win, we're gonna compete. And then like he goes to them like they over there sit next to each other. He goes, I don't know why you guys came. Like I don't know why you guys
Yeah,
came.
you're not playing.
You're not okay. Like you're not playing, but like congratulations. Like that type of shit is basically what it would be like. Like thanks, participation trophy.
Yeah. Yeah, like please be great. But if you're not, we will be fine.
We'll be good.
Don't know about you, but we will be fine.
We'll be good. I have a job.
Yeah.
I will have a job.
Whereas like in Charlotte, it's like we need you.
We
Please be
need
great
you,
because we're
buddy.
not great.
Charlotte's like fucking thing for free agents. Look at this. Look at
Yeah.
this. We have the top lawyers in all the NBA. If you fuck up, we got you.
Yep. Charlotte is like the Cleveland of the NBA as far as like the way the Browns kind of go through shit. Like you got Miles Garrett hitting people with the helmet. You got fucking Baker Mayfield doing whatever the fuck. They literally drafted Baker Mayfield right after drafting Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
Like that's
Saquon
how
Barkley.
crazy.
I would point out that Saquon Barkley was in that draft.
Yeah, yeah, yep, and yeah,
You chose.
you had Odell for a year. He couldn't even get with it, and then you follow that up by getting the guy who's got a bunch of sexual assault cases pending, and he's your future.
He was like,
So
listen,
like,
hey, 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 we're gonna bring you in.
stop it.
Put these
You
mittens.
stop
Put these mittens on. Put these mittens on.
it. Right.
Stop doing shit with your hands, man. Stop it. Put these mittens
If
on.
they're not on a football, put them in your pockets. All right.
Like,
Hands away. Let's
fact-
go win some games.
every time after games, we're just gonna arrest you. We're just gonna put you in handcuffs
Yeah.
so you can't do shit.
Right.
So next
Motherfucking
game,
longest yard.
you just gonna go back to your cell. Go back to your
Yeah.
cell. You ever think that there would be a situation where like there's a guy so talented that like they do
They
something,
get him out of prison.
they go, all right, well, okay, we gonna make
After
this
the
deal.
game, you go back to prison.
Make this deal. From October to June, he's free. But right back in the summer, he has to go right back to jail. Like he
What the
spends.
fuck is your off-season training like? Like, are you sending trainers into the fucking prison to
I
go
tell-
work with them?
I tell you one thing, that motherfucker's gonna be built like Ben Wallace. Like, he's
Bro, he gonna
crazy.
be and playing like Bill Lambier.
Just everything. Everything's the Jordan rule. Every
Yeah.
day. Every day.
Yeah.
That's shit crazy. But
Everybody gets Jordan ruled. Like,
everybody,
bro, we didn't mean Jordan Clarkson. Fuck it.
my bro, his name's Jordan. Like DeAndre Jordan, he's on the bench. Why did you foul him? He's like, bro, he can't shoot free throws. We thought if we fouled him, it's not even in the game. He's literally in street clothes. He's,
It's like, where'd you get a shank? How did you? That's a tech. That's a ref. That's a tech.
I think it's the tech. Ref, he's fucking bleeding
my
out.
God.
He's bleeding out.
We
DeAndre
went
Jordan,
way off target.
DeAndre Jordan is on the fucking floor bleeding out, just going like, "Where's the foul? Where's the foul?"
I thought he was coming to shake my hand.
He's like over there still trying to argue the foul. The ref is like, "I don't see it. I don't see it. We gotta see it. I don't think you're bleeding enough." Like, bro,
Money on the game. All right. Anyway,
we went left. This shit went left, bro. Oh man. Okay.
all right. Well, anywho, we can go ahead and wrap it up.
we can wrap it up. Welcome to the fucking podcast where like we talk about hypotheticals. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Crazy ass hypotheticals. Okay.
Prison ball.
Prison ball. Starring
right,
Terry
anyway.
Crews.
And Adam Sandler.
And Spike Lee for some reason.
Right. Directed by Martin Scorsese.
No. Directed by Tyler Perry.
Oh my God. Like in Medea's the ref. All right, listen, we're way off topic now. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us this week. Very, very crazy week. I mean, as a podcast, sure, as the NBA too. Like, the NBA was a crazy week as well. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified whenever we drop new videos. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, add us to your favorites. Hit a follow. Whatever you got to do, get that algorithm pumped up. And of course, follow us on the socials. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok. And then last but not least, hit up our website where you can see more episodes of not just this podcast, but other podcasts that we put out and a bunch of other content. And you can visit our store and see some of the cool merch that we got available. Marquise, do you have anything left to say? You better not say what I think you're going to say.
At the Untitled Sports Podcast, we love dick.
I knew it was going to be a fucking dick joke. All right. That's it. Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, the Sixers signed 30 undrafted players who probably will never play.
Yeah, because we're not Miami.
Good night.